like America would have us believe the greatest problem confronting this country today is not pollution and bad breath. It's black people. It's black people. See, that's just one of the big lies that America tells you and that you go for because you chumps. You go for it. One of the lies that we tell ourselves is that we are making progress. But Huey's chair is empty. We're not making progress. We tend to equate progress with concessions. We can no longer make that mistake. You see, when they gave us that nigger astronaut, you say we were making progress, but I told you they were going to lose him in space. He didn't get that far. They gave you Thurgood Marshall, and you said we were making progress. Thurgood Marshall is a Tom of the highest order. Anybody who sits before James O. Eastland, a camel breath, Peckerwood, nasty hunky from Mississippi, and let James O. Eastland subject him to the type of questioning that he did, he's a strange breed of man. You put Adam Powell in office and you couldn't keep him. What you think they're going to do with Thurgood Marshall when they get tired of him? They gave you Walter Washington of Washington, D.C., and you said we were making progress. That's not progress. See, it's no in between. You're either free or you're a slave. There's no such thing as second-class citizenship. That's like telling me you can be a little bit pregnant. The only politics in this country that's relevant to black people today is the politics of revolution. None other. There is no difference between the Democratic and Republican Party. The similarities are greater than the differences of those parties. What's the difference between Lyndon Johnson and Goldwater? None. But a lot of you running around talking about you Democrats, and the Democrats got you in the biggest trick going. They tell you it ain't our fault, it's the Dixiecrats. There's no such thing as a Dixiecrat. The only difference between George Wallace and Lyndon Johnson is one of them's wife got cancer. That's the only difference. But you go for it. You go for it because you chumps. You go for it. The only thing that's going to free Huey is gunpowder, black powder. Huey Newton is the only living revolutionary in this country today. He has paid his dues. He paid his dues. How many white folks you killed today? But you revolutionaries, you are revolutionaries. Che Guevara says it's only two ways to leave the battlefield, victorious or dead. Huey is in jail. That's no victory, that's a concession. When black people become serious about the revolutionary struggle that they are caught up in, whether they recognize it or not, when they begin to go down and knock off people who are oppressing them and begin to render these people impotent, that's when the revolutionary struggle unfolds. Not until. So I want to develop upon what Bobby was talking about green power, because green power is a myth. There's no such thing as green power as long as that honky got the power to change the color of money. It's power that controls this country. to show you America's wandering use and abuse of power in connection with money. Internationally, America changed the international gold standard from monetary standard from gold to paper gold. Her gold reserve had dwindled to $13.7 billion. France had 12.9. That's why de Gaulle was raising all that hell. De Gaulle says, I got almost as much gold as you. So how are you going to have more votes than me in the monetary system? United States got slick because they had power. They changed it to something that they got abundance of, paper gold. Paper gold. You see, black folks are chumps. If America were to tell you to bring all the rocks in this country to her, and she'll give you $1 million for it, you'll do it. And the next day she'll tell you, we're using rocks for currencies, chump. You go for it because you enjoy being lied to. You enjoy being lied to. You find your security in the lies that white America tells you. For 400 years, she taught you white nationalism and you lapped it up. You taught it to your children. You had your children thinking that everything black was bad. Black cows don't give good milk. Black hens don't lay eggs. Black for funerals, white for weddings. You see, everything black is bad. The only black biblical character you knew was Judas. That's all. Syrup of black drought. That's white nationalism. Santa Claus. A white honky who slides down a black chimney and comes out white. Flush-colored Band-Aids. They had a brother who put one on and thought something was wrong with his skin. That's because you chumps, you go for it. You enjoy white nationalism. Huntley and Brinkley, black folks got more confidence in Huntley and Brinkley than Catholics got in the Pope. They believe anything. According to Huntley and Brinkley, we through fighting in Vietnam. We through killing the enemy, we shooting trees. But you go for it. That's what you want to hear. And you say that you're revolutionaries. But if you are revolutionaries, you must assume the revolutionary posture. Chairman Mao says power comes from the barrel of a gun. Yes, politics is war without bloodshed, and war is an extension of those politics. But there is no politics in this country that's relevant to us, to black people. Bobby Kennedy sold black people out. He's not interested in black people. He called for vigilante action this summer. He says that the good citizens should band with the policemen to put down lawbreakers. You know who lawbreakers are in this country. Johnson can always sit up and talk about, he can always raise an argument about law and order because he never talks about justice. But black people fall for that same argument and they go around talking about lawbreakers. We did not make the laws in this country. We are neither morally nor legally confined to those laws. Those laws that keep them up keep us down. You got to begin to understand that. Lyndon Johnson has set the attitude, the atmosphere rather, for vigilantism in the country when he came out in his latest speech, I guess you call it, and said that one day law-abiding citizens will rise up to put down the lawbreakers, and 1 week later the longshoremen went over and beat the peace movement up with hooks. That's vigilante action. The same thing happened during the Battle of Algiers, the Algerian Revolution, when France passed the proclamation establishing people's militias. That's what this country is doing. That's why white folks are buying guns. They're buying them for you. And understand, class differences will not save you. There is no such thing as a black middle class. You don't believe it? Go to Detroit. There's no such thing as a black middle class. The man does not beat your head because you got a Cadillac or because you got a Ford. He beats you because you're black. Class structures are a luxury that we cannot afford. They cannot divide us by saying that you're middle class or you're lower class. He kills you because you're black. The concentration camps, they got 37 in the country, and me and Carmichael can't fill all of them. They got to be taking somebody else. You got to stop dividing yourselves. You got to organize. I agree with Bobby. We are not outnumbered. We are out-organized. You have to organize on every level. Everybody in the black community must organize. And then we decide whether we will have alliances with other people or not, but not until we are organized.
Salaam Alaikum. Mr. Moderator, our distinguished guests, brothers and sisters, our friends and our enemies.
Can y'all hear me now? Salaam Alaikum. Can y'all hear me? Salaam Alaikum. Bismillah wa salatu wa salam wa rasulullah. In the name of Allah and the peace and blessing of Allah be upon his last and final messenger. So what follows, family, friends, foes, haters, and hateettes, welcome back to the Feachaz. I greet you all in peace and love and no hatred in my heart. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So before we begin, please like, please subscribe, and please share. As you know, we got a lot of haters up in here. And of course, today, we got a hot one again. You know, family, we here at the New Black Media, we are well aware of the substantial twitching, twirling, twerking, butt shaking, break dancing, tap dancing, shucking and jiving, work it girl, twerk it girl from the people who claim to represent you in the name of Islam. As a matter of fact, we're the only ones that I know of that are standing up boldly for the black Muslim community without apologizing and without sugarcoating and without making any types of concessions. Y'all hearing me? The black grassroots has been vindicated time and time and time again with spot on predictions. How do you do it? Are you Negro Damas the Feachaz? No, it's not that. It's called experience. We've seen a lot of stuff. Okay? So many times we've been vindicated with our predictions. And how those who pretend to be your brothers use your wealth, your labor, your land, your numbers to build their communities while at the same time vilifying you. They will vilify you when you stand up for yourself. They call you divisive when you call out clear and blatant racism from these so-called da'is. They call you troublemakers for pointing out open hypocrisy from people in the Muslim community who are feigning brotherhood. They tell you that issues of race are not from Islam, but at the same time order you, Salaam, to support racially distinct groups who are not you, but because those groups are Muslim. So they're very willing and ready to put you in the front lines. And every time you go, anyways, even me, I'll go. I don't care. Muslim brothers. They will put you in the front lines of all kinds of groups. Okay? They intentionally exclude you from anything independent and use your donations to build the Pakistani mosque, to build the Egyptian mosque, to build the Bosnian mosque, or the Turkish or the Somali mosque, because these are Islamic mosques. But you are welcome to provide money and security and janitorial expertise for them, but you are not supposed to be building anything on your own. Y'all hearing me? When you say that you now become the one who is dividing the ummah, when you just call it out, just calling it out. Okay? So the one who openly invites. We're not talking about somebody who's like, maybe moonlighting as a white supremacist, a white nationalist. We're talking about a Muslim who openly invites white supremacists to their platforms and has never met an alt-right talking point that they haven't liked. This is our brother. This is our brother. You get it? And the one who points out the very clearly political agendas in this game that is happening, particularly amongst the Salafis, that one is crazy. But the one thing they don't do is deal with the grievances of the black Muslim grassroots directly. They can't do it. They can't do it. And the reason that they can't is because the amount of evidence that we put out here, and not a single one of our detractors has taken the time to say, this is wrong because of ABC. Not a single one. Not one. How many of them came to try to sabotage this channel, shut the channel down, but they don't deal with the arguments directly. They can't. We put in work here. So their only play is to come with anecdotes and sketches of hypersensitivity, because there is no way that they can deal with the reality of the situation and continue doing what they are doing. You get it? You can't deal with the reality and yet still be this tap dancing, chucking and jiving, working girl, twerker girl daddy. You can't do it, because it's not going to fit. That would make them look even more hypocritical. And it would yank up their skirts so high you would see where they stop shaving their legs. Y'all hearing me? Every single point we brought up happened. And I mean all of them, okay? We told you that this AIM conference, they would tell you the reason why they brought Daniel Hikachu to a Salafi conference is because he is qualified to talk about LGBTs and feminist issues, correct? Did this happen? Yes or no? Did this happen? Yes or no? We told you that they will use black imams to buffer and protect him from any criticism, particularly about his anti-black stances. Did it happen? Yes or no? Somebody put it in the chat, please. Didn't we say they're going to tell you that the reason why we brought Daniel Hakikachu is because he's qualified and a specialist in feminism and a specialist in LGBTQ and a specialist in liberal? Didn't we say this was going to happen? Somebody put in the chat, yes or no? We told you that would happen. And we told you that they will use the black imams to make space between the black grassroots and Daniel Hakikachu. Did they do this, yes or no? Put it in the chat, please. I want some answers. We want answers. Somebody put it in the chat. Did this happen? Did the feature say it? Did this happen, yes or no? But most importantly, we told you that these same Salafis, okay, will use this as a gateway to introduce Salafis in particular and the wider Muslim community at large to the alt-right. That's the most important thing that we said was going to happen. Why? Because this is the formula. It's not rocket science. Been done before, right? It's not that I'm Negro Damas. It's just that this whole thing has been done before. Been done with the liberals, now they're doing it with the alt-righters. Well, it's not rocket science. Didn't we say that was going to happen, right? Let me show y'all something. So y'all don't think I'm tripping. Like, subscribe, share, hit me up on Patreon, y'all. Let me get this up here. Y'all thought we was tripping. Y'all ain't ready for this. You are so not ready for this, man. You are not ready for this. Negro Damas in the building once again. You ready? Y'all ain't ready. Heads ain't ready for the stuff I got. Heads ain't ready, and I swear they not. Heads ain't ready for the stuff. Look here. Look here. We told you that this would happen. Most importantly, we told you that they're going to use this as a gateway to introduce the Salafis in specific and the wider Muslim community in particular to the alt-right. We said that. Wasn't it just last week, a couple of days ago, we was telling you about Eddie from the Dean Show? We were telling you about that, right? Eddie from the Dean Show. Who remembers? It was just a few days ago, right? Eddie from the Dean Show taking these alt-right leanings. And we put out the receipts, correct? We showed you him inviting Jesse Lee Peterson. Not just, is it? Yeah. Jesse Lee Peterson to his show. We told you about him and his, what's that guy? Anyways, that red pill guy. Y'all can put him in the chat, man. I can't remember. I'm not like all over YouTube like y'all, man. But anyways, we told you, right? Look at here. Heads ain't ready for the stuff we got. Heads ain't ready, and I swear they not. Heads ain't ready for the stuff we got. You ready? Y'all ain't ready. Andrew Tate. Thank you, Josh. Andrew Tate. We told you. Alhamdulillah for the black grassroots. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah for the black grassroots. We can't thank Allah enough for putting people brave enough to stand up for black people. Look at here. It's my WhatsApp. Welcome to my WhatsApp. If you can't see it, ILMCON Colorado, AIM. All these Salafi scholars. Again, Daniel Kikuchu in this corner. Wajdi Akari beside him, the same one who called Daniel Kikuchu pure takfiri. And look, who's it? Who's this over here? Who is this funny looking fellow over here? That's Eddie, y'all. That's Eddie, y'all. Let me ask y'all a question. Which one of y'all is going to pay money to hear Eddie speak? Who's paying money to go hear Eddie give a lecture about Islam? Anybody paying money for that? Eddie, yeah, that Eddie who invited Jesse Lee Peterson to his show. This is the Dean Show. This is the Dean Show. This is the Dean Show. Yeah, that Eddie. Eddie, who's been taking some hardcore alt-right stances recently. This is the Dean Show. 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 Yeah, Eddie, who paid money to hear Eddie speak? Scour the internet. Look throughout the world. And find me anywhere in the dunya where Eddie is a keynote speaker anywhere. What's Eddie known for? He's known for interviews, right? Why all of a sudden, just like that, when, for the last how many months now, he's been taking some real hardcore outright red pill stance. Now he invited on a flyer with scholars and stuff. This is come on, everybody. This is the Dean Show. This is the Dean Show. This is the Dean Show. Come on. This is the Dean Show. Look at here. We told y'all this was going to happen. We told y'all this was going to happen. Right? So the question is, what are you black Muslims going to do about it? That's the real question. This right here, that fly, that's a very firm decision to silence any criticism of alt-right political stances in the Muslim community. Y'all hearing me? But not only that, give anyone who wants to push anti-black rhetoric an open forum to do so, and then say, this is Islam, this is the Sunnah, anti-blackness. Y'all hearing me? The truth is, not only do they think that they can be you black people, they don't think you can be independent. They don't believe that, okay? Because if it was just about independence, they wouldn't bother with you at all. But they are actively working to disrupt any type of autonomous, stable, unified cohesiveness that black Muslims can develop. Y'all hearing me? So it's not enough that they talk about these side issues, which they themselves are the root and the cause of all these problems. We talk about LGBTs and feminism and stuff. It's the Eastern Muslims that pretty much doused the fuel on that fire. Let's call it what it is today. Y'all created your own problems. Can you imagine? Imagine now, Sahaba are here today, or Tabi'in, or Tabi'in. Can you imagine they're here today, somewhere in the West? Don't make a difference. Any Western country, they got their kids, and they talking about, you know what? Let me send my kids to public school from birth. Okay, let me do that. Let me send my kids to the schools of Allah's enemies. Not try to build our own independent schools in the land of them. No, let me do this. Why? Because my enemy saved me from the fitna that was going on in my country. And I want my children to learn in the enemy schools so they can have an enemy's education. Now you got all these problems. And it's not enough that they tell you that talking about your big black issues are haram, and you are the ones who are causing division by seeking help for your own people. That's not bad enough, but they must outright censor you. When you point out the outlandish, outrageous, disgraceful racism shown by these new Ibada, and they will use black men to shut you up. How many times has this happened to us, black people? How many times? Alhamdulillah for the new black Muslim media. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, because we are not moved by money. We are not easily threatened. We don't bow down to pressure of any human being or any organization. Okay? We are well aware who our enemy is. And we have no issues letting the world know who our enemy is. Our enemy is the enemy of Allah himself. And the enemy of Allah on earth today is white supremacy. And all those who side with it. Just like Pharaoh and his cohorts were the enemy of Allah at his time. Just like the Mushrikeen of Mecca and the Munafiqun of Medina were the enemy of Allah and the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ at that time. This enemy in our time has embodied every wicked nation mentioned in the Quran. Every last one. They are pushing every evil mentioned in the Quran in order to put this devilish system in place to make sure that no one rises against them, and only those who work with them are successful. Even the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he said, will love the life of this world and fear death. The life of this world in our time is a life under white supremacy. Y'all hearing me? They are the modern Egyptians of Pharaoh. That's them. They are the modern day financiers and backers of the Munafiqun in every single country, Muslim country on earth. They openly push modern day Sodom and Gomorrah. They openly use science to change the creation of Allah. And you have Muslims siding with this. They want to take sides with this. They won't call them the enemy. They won't do it. Pushing white supremacy and blackface, and they are very comfortable in doing so. They don't believe they don't the Quran and Sunnah are potent enough to take the system down. They actually don't believe that. They don't believe that. They want you, their whole strategy is for you to side with the enemies of Allah against other enemies of Allah in order to strengthen a group of demons over a group of devils. And then call it Islamic. That's their whole strategy. Y'all hearing me? But Allah has commanded us in the Quran that it is Satan who frightens you. It is Satan who frightens you with his supporters. Ha! Ha! So fear them not, but fear me if you are believers. Y'all hearing me? You want us to support who? Who? In the name of what? You must be drunk or a high or sniffing too much glue or whatever. You must have hit yourself in the head. You must be doggone crazy. We know what we are seeing right before our eyes, okay? Our eyes are not fooling us. And no amount of pressure will prevent us from the truth. You want us to do what? How about a hell no? Can I get a hell no? Look at here. In case I didn't get it the first time. Look at here. You want us to do what? Next time they ask you that, how about this?
Hell no. To the no, no, no. Hell to the no.
Y'all hearing me? You want us to support who? You want us to support who? Because he's a specialist in what? How about this?
No, 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 no. Hell to the no, no. To the no, no, no.
You get it? Allah said, this is Satan who frightens you with his supporters. This is Satan who frightens you with, so fear them not, but fear me. I'm supposed to be afraid of who for what? Like, are you tripping? If I'm going to die, let me die in the path of Allah. Let me do that. If I'm going to starve, let me starve in the path of Allah. Let me do that. If I'm going to fight, let me fight in the path of Allah. Let me do that. But don't let me fight to defend the enemies of Allah, because somebody know how to talk about feminism and LGBTQs and stuff. You must be out of your mind. Like, what?
What the hell?
You must be tripping. These are the same people that want to tell you that there's no racism in Islam, okay? While they brazenly practicing and participating in it. And the greatest myth in the dominant society pushes on black people so that in this society, they tell us that black people have an equal opportunity, right? There's equal opportunity for all in the West. Y'all hearing me? Everybody equal. That's what they want you to believe. Okay? And if black people can't make it in this society of equality, okay, and justice, and they can't make it here and they can't achieve their fair share of wealth, resources, and power, then it's the Negro's fault. It's their own fault. So integration and equality are grounded in the belief that the dominant white society will voluntarily share their power with blacks. But this is something that black people need to understand, is that power is never, ever shared, particularly between two competing groups. And in Islam, we have legislated power sharing because Allah is Al-Hakim, he's the most wise. He knows people ain't just gonna, he knows what he created, okay? People ain't just gonna give up power. You have to legislate it in Islam. Y'all hearing me? Okay, so the third pillar of Islam, zakat, as well as the forbiddance of riba, these systems are in place to empower Muslims, the wider Muslim society. I don't know a single black convert anywhere on earth that I didn't meet personally, or maybe talked on the phone or heard about, read about, nothing, that received zakat. Not one. Maybe y'all know. If y'all know, you can put them in the chat or something. Okay? But I don't know. Okay? I've never even heard of that ever. Okay? Furthermore, foreigners that come here are competing against you, black folk, directly, and at the same time feigning brotherhood. They come here specifically under the pretext to mix with white society. You get it? They want to mix with white society as much as possible in order to be successful. And on top of that, they tell their own people, make sure you don't mix with the Negroes. They say that. You get it? For y'all who don't believe me, if you don't believe me, let me just give you a reminder. Okay? Let me find it here. If y'all don't want to believe me.
Brothers, we're not black. Let's stop talking like we're black.
Just in case you forgot.
Convince both the Indians and the Pakis there's a way to deal with their problems without going to war.
And that's how you think about us. Madness. So they're very happy to be under the auspices of the power holders of the world right now. And the power holders never have a desire to share power. They are more than happy to ensure that you never climb out of the gutter at the behest of Zaddy and them in order for their masters to throw them Scooby snacks and butter biscuits. Mind you, it was your open enemies and oppressors who originally dismissed you or dismissed any issues that you have. It was originally them. It wasn't even the Muslims. Go read throughout any Islamic books in history. Where are these Muslim scholars talking about, don't talk about black issues, that's divisive? Pull up any book. I challenge you. Don't talk about black issues as divisive. You don't find that from scholarship. That's something new. That's something modern. And why? Who taught them this? The dominant white society. It was them. Let me read this stuff for you, man. Hold on. Where is it here? Yes. James R. Kugel and Elliot R. Smith, in their research for beliefs about equality, showed that whites resist change about equality because they tend to qualify any of these inequalities related to black underclasses as non-issues. Do any of you black Muslims know anybody else that speak like this? Yes or no? Do you know anybody else who speak like this? Inequalities related to the black underclass are non-issues. Who else you know speak like this? They want you to believe that these Western countries were built for that were in fact built for the betterment of the dominant white society, and the entire planet, okay, all the planet was divvied up to ensure the extraction of natural and human resources from darker-skinned peoples for the benefit of the whiter classes, are somehow today race neutral. And if black people just stop complaining, they can get ahead like everybody else. When Allah says that He hates oppression, and they exclude black folk from this. And this is an opportunity, I keep saying it, it's an opportunity for black people to now exclude them and go to the ultimate source of power, Allah himself. Go directly to Allah himself. Stop trying to be around the people that don't want to be around you. Which brings us now to feminism, right? Because we're supposed to be talking about feminism, right? This whole feminism hoopla, which your youth have become obsessed with because your YouTubian elite are monetizing this gender war. This is a political gender war between a group of white people which you call liberals and another group of white people which you call conservatives. They want you to think that sexism should take precedence over racism, and that this fight against feminism is far more important than issues related to black people. That's what they want you to think. The form, degree, and intent in discrimination between blacks and women has always been vastly different. And now here come your YouTubian elite telling you that men's rights and masculinity and the fight against feminism now need to take front and center over racism. Can you imagine that the Prophet ﷺ, in his last speech, did he say there is no superiority of the man over the woman or a woman over the man? Or did he say there's no superiority over the black or the white or the Arab or non-Arab? Can you imagine? They want you to wait. Who are we to wait? Every right that you have in the West is specifically because black people paved the way for you to have that. The West was built off the blood and the sweat and the labor of black men and women. How dare you? You will push us to the back and spit in our face, give racist platforms to speak, because your kids struggling with feminism? And whose fault is that? And not only that, the amount of business around this. Look at YouTube right now. How many people talking about Andrew Tate and talking like Andrew Tate? Why? You think it's because there's a problem or because they're monetizing a problem? Y'all need to wake up, man. Meanwhile, in the real world, okay, blacks were legally subordinated and exploited as producers of wealth for the society that denied them the right to enjoy the fruits of their labor. And it still continues to this day. Okay? Contrarily, women, white women, as a protected class, enjoyed the fruits of black labor, but were denied the luxury of laboring to produce such fruits. Holla if you hear me. I said, white women were a protected class, and they enjoyed the fruits of black labor and were denied the luxury of laboring to produce such fruits. This issue regarding feminism is a class issue, particularly regarding white women who are seeking what they call equal rights to the white man. Comparing the fight between racism and the fight against feminism is like comparing an ingrown toenail to leukemia. Being a woman, especially a white woman, in society may have its challenges, but it can no way, shape, or form be compared to what black people have been going through on Earth, let alone Western society. Yet in the 1970s, are y'all ready? Y'all ain't ready for this feminism talk. Y'all ain't ready for this feminism talk. Ain't nobody told you this. Y'all ain't ready. You ready to hear the reality of feminism now? Y'all are tripping. Tripping. In the 1970s, as a part of a government and CIA operation, two struggles were linked for the very first time: the black struggle and the feminist struggle. The constitutional grievances of women were made to be the same constitutional grievances for blacks. They were made to be parallel. So this is incredibly far from reality. Through social devices such as marriage, slavery, segregation, Jim Crow, redlining, apartheid, and capitalism, white women enjoyed every access to the white man's wealth. Y'all hearing me? But black people have never enjoyed that. Never. From a racial perspective, white women have always enjoyed the benefit of racial discrimination and the option to categorically discriminate against blacks. Blacks have never had the opportunity. Y'all ain't ready for this. Because we're talking about feminism, right? Let's talk about it. Okay? Blacks have never, ever had the opportunity to collectively discriminate against women or any other ethnic group for that matter. So the women's movement was planted in the Black Power struggle to steer the momentum away from it and draw its attentions to women's issues and sisterhood, and serves as a major impediment to the black family. We talked about this on this channel. Black feminism, how it destroyed the black family unit, and racial solidarity. That's why you have black women always at the throats of black men, because of black feminism. And it's no coincidence that every time blacks are on the verge of receiving relief from their condition, women's rights always suddenly appear. The first case that occurred was in 1870. Women tried to push Congress to write them into the Constitution under the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendments, which were specifically enacted to ensure freed slaves would have the equal rights under the Constitution. Shortly after emancipation, the 15th Amendment assured voting rights of all citizens, regardless of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Women's attempts, pardon me, to have them written into the Constitution, subsequently it failed, okay? Reasonable congressmen felt that the Civil War hadn't been fought over women's rights, but rather it fought over the condition of black people. Y'all hearing me? So, 5 million newly freed blacks whose men fought to save the Union were written into the Constitution. Women were not written into the Constitution in 1860s because they have never, ever been excluded from society. Let me ask y'all something. Because we're talking about masculinity and feminism, the fight against feminism now. We got to fight feminism, right? How are we doing it? These people that are fighting feminism, are they using Quran and Sunnah? Put in the chat, please. Put it in the chat. These people who are fighting feminism, are they using Quran and Sunnah? Somebody put it in the chat. These heroes of yours that we have to support, that are fighting feminism, Are they fighting it with the Quran or are they fighting it with the Sunnah? So they don't want to fight racism at all. Feminism rooted in racism to begin with. Y'all don't believe. Watch, y'all. I'm not done. I'm not done. We warming up here. Y'all hearing me? The original Constitution excluded gender. Okay? It did not refer to, or rather, it did not refer to or exclude gender. Rather, the writers of the Constitution used to maintain that men are the protectors and maintainers of women. And throughout history, women have been a protected class. That's what the writers said. Some women's suffrage groups, are you listening? Openly criticized the Congress for its exclusion of women in the Constitution. One prominent white feminist, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, used strong racist and elitist language about placing the enfranchisement of black males above white women. Stanton said, and I'm quoting, "Think of Sambo, who does not know the difference between a monarchy and a republic, who never read the Declaration of Independence, making laws for Lydia Marie Child, Lucretta Mark, and Fanny Kimball," unquote. Y'all are tripping. These people will never stand up for you. Black people, are y'all hearing me? They will never stand up for you. No amount of you marching in a Palestine march or donating to the masjid or cleaning their toilets or doing security will ever get them to stand up for you. They're in competition with you. Y'all hearing me? And that's why it's so easy for them to put shady people at a Salafi conference to speak about feminism and stuff. Feminism, LGBTs, people who don't quote the Quran and the Sunnah at all. And pitch them as experts and say it's okay because he's an expert, and use black people to do it as well. Very easy for them. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Muhammad Fozi says, after small significant benefits of RP, I realized that from this live that this gender war is a non-issue being greatly exaggerated. It is. It really is. It really. Look at here. Okay? This feminism fight and the LGBTQ fight, okay, has nothing to do with Muslims. You know, I find Muslims all over YouTube now talking about abortion rights. Abortion rights? Abortion rights? What is a Muslim doing an argument about abortion rights? But if you have a political agenda, then you will include Muslims in the rights for abortions. Because that right there, if that don't tell you anything, then you really need to go back to the basics of your deen. Muslims talking about abortion rights? Is you tripping? Why are Muslims becoming liberal? Why are Muslim women taking feminist leanings? Why is this happening? Is it happening because, you know, some sort of like feminist agenda exclusively, or is it happening because you live in a country where subjugation is a real thing, and as long as you are sending your children to a school 8 hours a day and sending them to Islamic school 1 hour a week, there's no way that 1 hour a week can compete with 8 hours a day every day for 20 years of your child's life of indoctrination. So if your school indoctrinates your children to be liberal and LGBTs and feminists and whatnot, guess what? Your children are going to be like that. And no fancy, funky argument is going to stop that. If you're talking about real solutions, you need to start homeschooling. You need to start Islamic school. These type of things. That's real solutions. But imagine Omar Khattab living here today talking about, I'm going to send my son Abdurrahman to this public school. Y'all laugh. Y'all will laugh. You're probably laughing right now. Because you know that would never ever happen. So why are you doing it for yourself? Y'all are tripping. Tripping. Y'all are straight tripping. Let me get some. Who wants to come on? Let me just put this link out here. Anyways, this is the reality. This is the reality of the situation. This whole gender war thing is being heavily monetized on social media by Muslims. The real issue is that the youth are consuming this stuff, and nobody's telling the youth why are you consuming this stuff? Like, why do you even listen to the people that you listen to? Nobody's telling them that. Like, why? Why you do this? Don't you know the difference between a scholar and a YouTuber? You don't know the difference? Don't you know the difference between dawah and dawahtainment? You can't tell the difference? Don't you know the difference between, a 5-minute clip and a 2-hour dars? You don't know the difference between a Google search and reading an actual book? Salaam Alaikum, CL. What's popping, bro?
Wa alaikum salam. Good show going on.
Hayakumullah. Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. What you got for us now?
So the brother Fareed responds. He reposted one of my videos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alhamdulillah. So someone in the comment section says, don't recommend his channel. He's a race baiter.
Of course, CL Edwards, the race baiter.
Who would come on my channel and think I'm a race baiter?
Nobody would. Nobody would.
So I asked the brother, what makes you think I'm a race baiter? Oh, you talk about white man. You said the white man this and the white man that. I think you have low self-esteem.
Wow, mashallah, mashallah. I don't think. Have you ever said the white man ever?
I think maybe I have said the white. I don't know. I've said white supremacy. I know I said that. I've said white supremacy.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've said it. I mean, and what if I did say the white? Is using the terms white man? Is that haram now?
Mm.
So I mean, subhanallah, and I get it. I understand what it's about.
Mm.
It's the same as that. It's the same thing when you talk to some white people about these issues, and they get squirmy and uncomfortable, and then they start accusing you of reverse racism, or they accuse you of always bringing up race. This is the same thing these Muslims are doing. Yeah. The subject matter makes them feel very uncomfortable, and because they want to be down with the dominant culture.
Yeah, of
they
course.
want to be down.
Of course,
they want to be all the way down.
And they openly say that as well. They're not shy to say that. Look at Muhammad Gilan when we put out. He said that critical race theory is irreligious. And then Abu Burad, who's on right now, he mentioned about the brother who said that we have to side with white nationalists. We must side with them. That's why we're looking at you with the side, and to be quite honest, I'm not me personally. I don't believe in being united with these types at all. Period. It's retarded, to be honest. We need to do something for our own. We need to depend on Allah only, right? And get busy. We have way too much work to be worried about these people, right? Brother Abubora, what you got for us?
Yeah, you know, with the introduction, when you were speaking about the reason why they brought Daniel Hachikachu to their program platform, like you said, you already predict that they're going to say that because he has credentials, right? I listened through a lot of their program. Was for I think 2 or 3 days. One day like 11 hours for one video like this, and I listened to a lot of it, and I sat down and I analyzed and looked at it and said they didn't teach anything. It was just a bunch of reminders. No real learning was going on. And one of the things you will find that in this type of environment, people are just talking and talking and talking, and actually they're doing nothing. They're not. The people are actually not learning. The Muslims are not learning.
That's a great point. That right there is a great point, because what's happening with this particular generation, they get sucked into this abyss of algorithm chasing, and they watch all these weird YouTube clips, and the way that they speak is, you can tell they're not learning anything, and that's why they get confused so fast, because they want you to know who all these YouTubers are. They want you to know like Ali Dawa and Bruh Haji and Al Islam. What is it called? Al Islam Productions, and all these weird channels, like people our age wouldn't even look at it twice. Like what is she talking about?
Like the AIM conference, I looked. They didn't teach any subject matters. They didn't teach Aqidah. They didn't teach fiqh. They didn't teach Lugha. They didn't teach Tafsir al-Quran. They didn't teach any subjects. It was just a bunch of talks, right? That's geared towards the topic matters that are talked on YouTube.
yeah, exactly. Can you imagine?
And I was like, wow. But Dr. Sheikh Bilal Phillips, may Allah reward this Sheikh. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave this Sheikh, he has a lot of wisdom with him. And I noticed when he spoke, the majority of them didn't want to listen to him. You know what he talked about? As long as you live in America, you're going to keep on compromising and compromising and compromising. You guys need to make hijrah. And majority of the people in the conference, you notice, they were immigrant Muslims. So they came to this country and they're going to get with it, whatever comes from being in here. They're going to get it. And the Sheikh told them, the more you hear or the more you are not together, he said, the more you're weak, the Muslims in the West are weak. He said, the more you're going to keep on compromising and compromising and compromising. And when you see them with people like Daniel Hachikachu, who's far right politics, and they got to bring him, and you have to have Abu Usama Dahabi introduce them and tell the people why as Salafis they had to bring this guy in. It's showing you that they are compromising their principles of Salafiyah.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Alhamdulillah, that's the same thing I was just thinking. Subhanallah, the type of conferences, they still go on, but a lot of the conferences that used to go on in the 90s and the 2000s, you couldn't really get these youth to go to that type of conference. The ones
today, right?
Yeah, the ones. No, I'm talking about the conferences that used to happen, like the QSS conferences and things like that. They would be completely bored. They wouldn't be interested in anything like that.
Yeah, so now you got to make, instead of bringing up lions, right? You're trying to bring up freaking house kittens, because at least a house kitten has teeth and nails and stuff. You know what I mean? Instead of going out into the gutter and like, look, man, like dealing with this problem head on. Can you imagine the type of kids that these dudes are going to produce? These 20-year-olds, you know what I'm saying? What kind of generation these guys going to produce? You get me? If all they're concerned with is friggin' Shemsi and it's so weird, bro. Like I don't get it. Like why are you sharing a video of friggin' Shemsi to me, bro? Like come on, man. You know how old I am? What the heck is Shemsi gonna do for me? You get me? Like it don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. And then you got confused because this one's arguing with that one on YouTube. Look at this flyer. Look at this flyer, bro. Let's talk about this. Look at this.
Aki, I always have to say those are the those are the ones that may be a little better off. I mean, from what I'm seeing, these people are sharing videos of Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
I don't understand. They're not even sharing videos of Muslims. They're showing videos of, kuffar red people.
Exactly. Like even me, if I watch a kafir, right? And there's a kafir that I like to watch, I'm not going to expose other Muslims to that. I'm going to keep that crap to myself. You get me? I'm not just going to say, like say for example, I watch some Hamza Yusuf videos or whatever. And I said this before, like I said, every once in a while I'll watch a Hamza Yusuf video or whatever. But I'm not going to share it. You know what I mean? I don't. Why? Because I know that once people, we start listening to that stuff, it's like it's dangerous. You know what I mean? And that's just Hamza Yusuf. Andrew Tate, bro. Andrew Tate. Like, it's nothing against Andrew Tate because he's not. I don't consider him like nefarious or anything like that. But it's because the subject matter that he talks to is completely and totally, like, majority is un-Islamic, and it's blatantly un-Islamic.
So I don't get the appeal. Like, what are you trying? If you're listening to him and you're studying him and you bring and wasn't he brought on to some platforms, some Muslim platforms for interviews?
Yeah, it's crazy, so, bro.
What are you interviewing him about?
What is he? Exactly.
I don't know. What is he going to tell you?
So that's madness, man. That's
so are you trying to be like a playboy? You want to have game? You would try to get some game? You want to spit some? You want to go to the mall and spit game at girls or something? I don't understand what you're trying to do.
Exactly. You get it? Like it don't make any sense. It's just like when these same dudes were pushing Jordan Peterson. I'm like, how could you, as a self-respecting Muslim, if you're a self-respecting Muslim, I don't care what Jordan Peterson's talking about, how do you share somebody like that to the Muslims?
And to me, that blew up in everybody's face. Because he basically turned around and slapped everybody in their face.
Well, he was just being himself. You know what I'm saying? he never changed. You know, like
it was being promoted as if. I'm not going to say people's names, but you had people making comments like, any day now he could convert. Any day now he might convert.
Well, not
he's close to conversion.
But I'm saying, like, if he converts, okay, alhamdulillah. But I'm saying, like, what's wrong with you, man? Like, you don't know this guy. You get me? He's a professor in Toronto who goes on YouTube. What do you know about him? Have you talked to him about Islam? Have you heard how he talks about Islam?
But you see who he works with now, right?
Yeah. Like, what is different about him from 5 years ago? You know, like, what is really different?
Did you see that video? Did you see that photo I posted of him on my on my community page?
No, I didn't see it.
With him he's with these guys with some alt-right guys. I mean, they at an alt-right conference.
He's European, right? He's white. He's Caucasian.
Yeah, he's Caucasian.
Yeah. So that's why they following them. You know, the Muslim has that colonialist mindset. Yeah. So they're in love with anything that's coming from the colonialist. That's that inferiority complex. Yep, that's the only reason why they're following these people. That's the only reason why Daniel Hachikachu was there, actually, in the AIM conference also.
So brothers and sisters, friends and family, right? So we really have to do much more, like so much more. We got way too much work to do. It's not enough. Like, YouTube's not enough. If you are on Facebook, that's not enough. You know what I mean? We have work to do. We see what's happening right before our eyes. I'm gonna give the brother Abu Bora the last take on this flyer, and then brother CL Edwards as well, the last take on this flyer, and then and we're gonna talk about our predictions. How we called it. We called it how long ago, bro? I think from the first video that I put out. When I first came out about this conference, we called it. We said this is what's going to happen, right? And it happened exactly like how we said. Remember, we did we took the flyer and we did 3 of these things belong together, right? We showed everybody, man. But anyways, go ahead, Abu Bura, go ahead.
You know, I personally think about this flyer in front of me that it's. I know I'm old school, bro. I'm 44 years old. I know I know a hustle when I see one. This is just another religious hustle from the last conference they had. They had a big fundraiser. They're just trying to get money. They're trying to be the new Salafis in America, new Salafi movement, and it's not going to go nowhere. It's not going to go nowhere. It's not going to go nowhere. I personally think it's not going to go nowhere. And they bring in people who have influence on the YouTube from the Muslims. Everybody on that flyer has some type of impression on YouTube. Everybody on that flyer. And this is what the young people are watching. The young Muslims, these are who they watching, and they're not going to learn. They're not going to learn nothing. You know, I think the organizer of this is Kareem Abdul Zaid. I have my opinions about Egyptians and the Salafis from Egypt. That they're like the Salafis in Egypt. They're like they have TV Salafi in Egypt. The sheikh that's on TV, he gives you a little reminder. He boosts your iman just a little bit while you're there, but you learn nothing at the end of the day. You listen to him and you didn't know nothing about Aqidah. You didn't learn nothing about fiqh. You didn't learn nothing about tafsir. You didn't learn anything. And just like they had three-day conference or 2-day conference they had just had, they didn't teach no subject matter. So you go there not knowing nothing, and you don't get any real answers when you leave. You just get a good feeling, good reminders, and that's about it. And no one knows. No one didn't learn anything. So I think just here, this is some new. They're trying to bring together, I guess, the different du'ats on YouTube that they are associated with, and making a platform for themselves and new income, new money for whatever projects they're doing, and that's all this is about. I personally think it's not going to go too far. It's not going to go too far.
You know, I have a lot of love for Abu Osama. The first and only time I met him was in Detroit, the QSS talk he did, and that was the day my father took Shahada, listening to his lecture. Alhamdulillah. So, you know, I don't know if anybody has been able to speak to him about, you know, the condition of Hakikachu, you know, to let him know, you know, who's this person he's taking the stage in the conference with. So I don't think if he understood and knew, he would agree to something like that. I just don't think that. But what the brother just said, I think he's absolutely correct. This is it's like a new wave, and you know, if you've been Muslim, you know, in the Muslim community for any amount of time, you know, it's all different types of waves that come through, and then they stir up a lot of smoke, and then they leave right back out. So this is the new wave. This is the new thing. It'll stir up a little wind for a little while, and then it'll go away.
Well,
and then just one last thing. When I was having go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You finish first.
No, I was going to say one thing. When I was having interaction with these brothers, who called me, a race baiter and whatnot, and I was trying to get them to articulate, you know, what it is they had an issue with, you know, and they couldn't. But one of them said that new Muslims, new converts shouldn't be exposed to what I say. Okay. Which the only thing that came to my mind, because the only two groups of people who are converting to Islam in mass in the West are black men and white girls, white women. So they can't be talking about black men, because we already know about the race we already know about the race problem.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So it must be the white girls.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. you know how it is, man. I said it before, bro. Like, if you want to get rich on YouTube, man, just go find some cute blonde-haired, blue-eyed white chick talking about Salaam Alaikum, you know, and put her on YouTube. Make her do reaction videos to Muslims and stuff, man. Watch thirsty Arabs.
I understand ain't
money at her, bro. Marriage, 10,000 marriage proposals a day.
Oh, subhanAllah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it'll be crazy, man. That's all you need.
I want to say one thing to Edwards. I believe Abu Osama Dahabi, he knows Daniel condition. If you go look on my Facebook page, I post a video, a clipping of Abu Osama talking about Daniel Hashikachu. He recognized that he's not Salafi, so he must know people are talking about him, and he's letting people know why they're inviting him, even though he's not Salafi. So that means that he already know what he's upon.
Mm. Okay.
And that's my assumption. He already knows.
Mm.
Yeah. So for me, at the end of the day, it's not about Daniel Hakikachu or Eddie. What it is there is a clear agenda to push Muslims to the alt-right. And that's what I said this was about from the beginning. That's what I said. That's the only reason why you invite Daniel Hakikachu. Right? Ain't got nothing to do with no LGBTs and feminism. That is the bait. I said it from jump. The fact that they put Eddie on that flyer. Come on, man. Come on. Like, what more proof do you want, man? These guys are trying to be the answer to Yaqeen Institute, right? The one thing that the majority
Yes.
of them have like almost everybody on this flyer has said something against Yaqeen Institute. I think the only one who hasn't is probably Sheikh Bilal Phillips. That's it, right? But every single one of them says something against Yaqeen Institute. You get me? So they're trying to be the alt-right answer to Yaqeen. How you do that? Daniel Hakikachu. That's it. You get me? I believe that Kareem Abu Zaid is on that stuff secretly, right? Because there's no other reason to protect someone like Daniel like that. It don't make no sense at all unless you low key like that. You get me? And why else would invite Eddie? Eddie, above all people, to speak. He's not a speaker. He's an interviewer. This dude does interviews, man. You get me?
So it was just, I didn't watch any of it. So it was just them talking. They didn't have any telelinks or they didn't have any scholars speak or answer questions. It was just them doing interviews.
Yeah.
Nah. Listen, Abu Osama Dabi said the scholars from Saudi and stuff they don't have the answers. That's what he said. Why he invited Daniel. He said the scholars,
Daniel has the answers.
Yeah, he said the Salafis don't have the answers. That's what he said. He said Sheikh
Hold on. But I don't mean to cut you off, Aki. But if somebody was going to have the answers, somebody like Abu Osama will have the answers. This brother's been in the deen for how long? And he's a student of knowledge. What would you bring up? What would you bring up? Hakikachu above you.
Like I said before, the whole point of that whole thing was, I said in the beginning, I said the first time is that they're going to use the black imams to do what, and that's exactly what happened.
That's what happened.
Exactly. So is that a proof for us or against us?
For us.
Against us.
It's proof for us. It's a proof for us because we called it. We called it.
No, it's a proof for you, but it's against us that brothers would allow that to happen to them.
I understand.
Why do you keep allowing yourself to get used like that?
Yeah, but at the same time, the black grassroots, we have to stay on code, right? Because we have work to do. We can't be distracted with all that's in front of us. We see this happening right before our eyes. We got to get busy, right? So, Jazakallah khair for everybody who participated. Hayakumullah. Everybody. Like, subscribe, share. Hit me up on Patreon. It's for late for Salat. Got to pray Maghrib. Right? So, a lot of words, you guys, for participating. Thanks for coming on. Subhanakallah bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.